The White House is turning up the heat on credit card companies. President Trump floating the idea of a temporary cap on interest rates. Credit card debt is at a record high, topping $1.2 trillion. That total has climbed steadily over the last decade, even after a brief dip during the pandemic. NewsNation's Alicia Nieves joining us now from New York. Alicia, good morning to you. President Trump is looking to change the rules, it sounds like here. What's been the response?
Hey, good morning, Marnie. This is a call that we have heard from the president get louder over the last 2 weeks, starting from a Truth Social post, and now the president taking that message to the World Economic Forum in Davos yesterday. Quite frankly, it's been interesting because it's been a little bit back and forth, the administration, and how they're going to actually accomplish this 10% cap on credit cards for a one-year term. They initially said maybe congressional action. Then they were talking directly with banks to do this voluntarily. NEC Chair and Director Kevin Hassett said that on Friday. Looks like those talks may have broken down because in Davos, the president now again signaling that he wants to take this to Congress, again saying in his messaging that the American people he believes are getting ripped off by credit cards. The interest rates have grown over the years. The average rate in 2021 was about 14%, and now it's over 20%, with some credit cards charging really close to 30%. This proposed cap, again, 10% for a one-year term, could cut the interest rate for the average consumer by around half. And you got supporters who are saying this is overdue, that there really is no ceiling on what credit cards can charge. And unless something is done, the consumer is going to continue to feel the pain and pay.
There's no maximum. There's zero maximum. So the 25% could be 50, it could be 75. Now, what Jamie Dimon's saying is if we take it to 10, those people won't get credit. Well, maybe those people shouldn't be getting credit.
Yeah, that right there was a finance guru and business guru, Grant Cardone, who you heard mention Jamie Dimon, who, of course, is the CEO and head of one of the largest credit card issuers in banks, JP Chase. He actually responded to the president's proposal in Davos as well. And Jamie Dimon calling the president's idea a, quote, economic disaster, really warning that it would shrink access to credit as this 10% cap, that profit margin wouldn't make sense for the default risk for these credit borrowers, and that could really ripple through the economy.
And the people crying the most won't be the credit card companies. It'll be the restaurants, the retailers, the travel companies, the schools, the municipalities, because people will miss their water payments, their this payment and that payment.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so what we're seeing here is unclear whether, the president is actually going to get this, that's going to pass through Congress. We do know there is actual legislation right now in Congress drafted to try and make that happen, or whether banks will voluntarily do it. It seems, though, like right now, Marnie, banks looking like they won't, and the president's really going to have to go to Congress. Marnie?
I know you're keeping a close eye on the financial markets. How is all this impacting those right now, particularly bank stocks?
It's a really good question because, 2 weeks ago when the president first posted the idea again on Truth Social, we saw bank stocks pull back pretty significantly on what this could mean for their profit margins. When you look at markets right now today and how they've been faring, they're actually to the upside right now across the board, really pulling back or taking back the losses that we saw on Tuesday. In fact, the Dow and the NASDAQ erasing the losses since we had on Tuesday. The S&P kind of getting closer to there. And if you look at bank stocks, they're actually also up today. The reality is what we're seeing is investors pricing in a very slim chance that we actually get this idea, this proposal by the president across the finish line, given that there's going to be, if it has to go through Congress, it's going to take some time. And then there's going to be some legal challenges. JP Morgan's CFO actually has signaled that if the president proceeds with this, that these banks would fight back. So a big question mark on whether this becomes a reality. But if you're a credit card holder out there with 27% interest rate, you're hoping that this comes to fruition, Marnie.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.